from downtown.
He's heating up.
He's heating up. He's on fire.
Is it the shoes?
Hey, what's up? Welcome to the Tuesday show. I'm Ultra David.
What's up? Say Jam.
Tasty Steve.
And jchensor. How's everybody going?
Alright, so we have several topics to talk about today. One of them is going to be sort of about Mango. It's kind of inspired by that. Then we're going to talk about the fact that Daily Dot Esports apparently is defunct.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about event results, because there were a bunch. And there were some good ones. And we're going to talk about etc. Oh, the KI patch.
KI patch, yeah.
Definitely progress. Talk about maybe Urian a little bit.
Ah.
And etc. as I said. So, you want to start out with this?
I changed it to when to ban.
Yeah,
When to
yeah.
ban.
So, allegations today, starting last night, from Mango's girlfriend that there has been domestic violence long time and serious in that relationship.
Right.
And we're not going to comment on the veracity of any of that. We don't know. But we thought that it would be good to talk about as sort of a general thing. When should somebody be banned from our scenes?
Right.
Under what circumstances should somebody be banned from our scenes? The things that he is alleged to have done, you know, they're not like at a tournament necessarily.
Right.
They're not like directly related to the purpose of why we get together, that is video games. So I don't know. I guess I would just kind of have a conversation about when to nevertheless ban something.
Yeah, it's sort of like a weird... It's really hard to make a call, I think, on it. It's not a really easy topic to figure out because it's like you mentioned, it's not like it's happening at a tournament. Like if someone is doing this kind of stuff at a tournament, it's pretty clear like you don't want this person at a tournament.
I mean that has happened.
Right.
So
So
those people have been banned.
Right.
Not every
exactly.
time, but they have been banned.
A lot of them have, yeah. So it's one of those situations where it's like it's happening outside of tournaments, and like do tournaments ban players like this? Like it's hard to say, and like you know you got to imagine some tournaments might get flack if some tournaments start to ban a player and others don't, and especially I think it's a bit weird in this case because it's like it's a Smash thing and like they have he's one of the gods
For sure.
right, so it's like he is one of the most worshipped players. So it's like sort of like you can imagine the outrage if a tournament does that and they're like, he is one of the gods. He means more than the air I breathe. Why would you dare ban him from events?
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a weird spot. But you brought up a good point about it.
So, we slightly touched on this earlier. I feel like there's multiple things to look at, and like I said, once again, not saying in the voice of for or it should be okay. Just saying like if we are truly esports, if Smash considers itself esports, or we consider ourselves esports, it doesn't make a difference. When does the accountability carry over to what you do for a living? When is it okay to say, hey, you are accountable for what you do on and off as a representation of a brand, regardless of how loosely or how tightly knit it is. That's up for grabs. As well as you have to remember, Smash Brothers is a very kid-centric game. Like that game is not, in all honesty, it's Mario, it's Link, it's Jigglypuff. The audience that's typically around that game is a little younger.
Yeah, I mean when we had D1 and Tapo on, they said that there tend to be younger people
That's
at
what I mean.
Smash events. Right. Like
So if you take that into account, then you have to ask yourself, and as well as the community that you surround yourself with, when is it in line? When is it a clear-cut reason and or purpose behind somebody being able to attend or being fined, like other sports do, as you brought up, being fined? One, we don't have a governing body to decide that. Two, when is it okay to say they can't come to events anymore? Three, is that even our business to say they can or can't come to an event anymore?
I think that's a pretty succinct list of questions.
I mean, but the thing is, just like you said, in regular sports nowadays, if someone does something like that, it's kind of a reflection on your scene,
very much
right?
so.
And Smash, and you know, the one thing that I do not want to see, though, is I don't want it to be like, but it's Mango, so should we do it? Like that's hopefully that'll never happen.
For sure.
If it turns out that the allegations are true, and again, we do not know the veracity of any situation, but if it turns out that they are true, I mean, hopefully the Smash team does do something, like ban for a year or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
And, it's going to hurt because Mango's one of the most popular players. He's like the people's champion of Smash. But you know what? It doesn't matter. We can't let that affect our judgment, our opinion. Not judgment, I should say. The results.
Right.
The I can't think of the word.
Because there's been sports stars with bigger followings
Yeah.
who have done stuff and been fine. And also, I'm really interested to see what C9 does about this whole situation, right? Because they're his sponsor.
That's true.
And
That's
like
true.
what their punishment is and what they decide to do about it. But yeah, it's a real interesting scenario, and I hope you both are right when you bring up the whole sports talk and about how like it represents them and their teammates and their organization and like the game they play and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I guess
So
that's true,
I
yeah.
hope that it doesn't turn into one of those scenarios where like because it's him he gets away with something.
Yeah, I mean,
It can't do that.
Curly W says in the chat, like Mango is not just one of the most; he's by far the most popular player. And you know what? Hopefully, with the decision that's made, that has no effect. Like that's what I'm hoping for. That like no one takes that into account.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want it to come into account on either side, whether by making it less likely to punish him, or you make sure you want to punish him because he's
Right.
somebody who's well known and you like want to stamp it out. Hopefully there's some partiality.
So my question for you, David, is that something that carries weight in a contract? If somebody was like, "Hey, here's a contract," I feel like you would have to be very clear in saying, "Oh, you're representing us at
Yeah.
this,"
Sure.
that would have to be in a contract, right?
That definitely is
See?
in esports contracts. Yeah, esports contracts almost always have what's called a morality clause.
Yeah.
And in morality clause, if you do something that casts a negative light on the brand in some significant way, I mean, sometimes it's defined, but sometimes it's kind of let a little bit loose. Certainly, I think this would fit. Then typically, the team owner or the sponsor or whoever it is retains the right to cancel the contract or to forego wages or whatever. Like there's some penalty that can be triggered. That's really common. It's not just in esports, but it's in entertainment and sports too.
Yeah.
So it's all over the place. But like, do you guys think that it's like legitimate to ban somebody for something that happened not in a tournament, not related to games? Is that like a legitimate idea to you?
I mean, let's talk about, for example, Dark Prince situation. That's a little bit of an extreme, but he pulled a knife on somebody, and it's still physical violence, right? So he pulled a knife on somebody, and he got banned from Evo. And I don't feel like that has to happen at an event. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if someone has that kind of tendencies and someone does something like that, obviously we have no governing body, so we can't ban. So it might be a tournament by tournament basis on whether or not something like that.
Yeah, there's no governing thing. I mean, when Noel was around, I think that didn't CPT ban him just in general?
Yeah,
just banned him.
CPT banned him first, and then a lot of other groups.
Okay,
followed
there you go.
suit.
So like that's kind of a governing thing, in that it has input in what other tournaments say. But
Smash doesn't have that.
Smash doesn't really have.
So it would have to be tournament by tournament by tournament by tournament doing it, right? It wouldn't, because it had to be whatever their majors are or locals or
Yeah.
et cetera
Yeah.
instead. But yeah, I think you're right. If it's one of those things where like someone has violence or something like that, or there's issues that they present that could threaten people at an event, then surely even if it's outside video games, it's worth banning someone for it. It's certainly worth talking about. Obviously, we don't know if any of them are true or
Right,
any of the
right,
allegations
right.
are true.
But
Just theoretically, right?
Right. If it is true, let's just say that let's not even talk about this case. If there is a case where a player is known for domestic violence, I mean, it's not something to really make jokes about. It's a very serious problem, and you need to punish somebody for doing something like that. And especially because you just don't want a person like that representing your scene. Now, obviously, there's going to be hundreds of cases in the FGC where we have no idea where any of this is happening, right? Because that's just the nature.
Yeah, I'm
of how
sure
it
that
works.
there are many people out there who have domestic violence issues. And you don't know.
Right, exactly. But if it is proven to be true and it is known, then I do think that there should be something to it, even if it's outside of an event.
So I'm uncomfortable with the idea of a private group using sort of extra or non-legal processes to deal with somebody. That I don't like that idea.
Right.
Okay. Obviously, I'm a lawyer. I like the law, not laws. Okay, it's important to distinguish. Laws can suck. Laws can be terrible. There's a lot of those. But the law, I believe in like
The idea itself.
the idea itself. Yeah. So I don't like it. I don't like the idea of like a private group doing that. But I also think that there are some situations where law is really, really weak. Laws are really weak. It's hard to trust them. It's hard to trust them to work. And this is one of those situations where it's really tough to trust the legal system to work because it just so often screws it up. So in that kind of situation where like law isn't really what I feel it should be, I want to obviously work to change that. But in the meantime, if somebody did the thing, then I think that there has to be some kind of extra punishment because I don't want to also. I'm not so sort of blindly in love with law that I want to have nothing else.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, that is what I want, but in the real world, that's not how it works. So while it's not how it works, we should also have other stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a sucky position where I don't like it, but I feel like it should happen.
Okay.
You know, while we need it to happen, it should happen. And this is one of those cases where it should happen. I mean, of course, there should be similar ideas as are used in the legal system, right? Presumption of innocence, all that kind of stuff is super important. But again, assuming, or not even assuming, if it's the case that these things are true, then I think that there should be some punishment. Yeah, even though it's not in the game, even though it's not at a tournament, I don't want people to get away with that stuff, and I don't trust other ways of trying to deal with that. So this is the one that I can help engage with. So that's all I got.
Muffin Man asks, if there was a governing body, should it uphold the sponsorship regulations or create its own?
Say that again?
So the way that he asked it was, if there was a governing body, should it uphold the sponsorship regulations or create its own?
What do you mean sponsorship regulations?
So I think he's saying if one overlaps or eclipses the other, which one should?
So if there's a governing body and they want to make a ruling about a player, and then his sponsor makes a ruling, is that what we're saying? Like his sponsor says this is what needs to go down. Do they bend the will to that? I don't know.
I mean, if Daryl wants to clarify the question a little bit more.
For sure.
I don't know. I'm curious to see. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be figured out first before anything happens, right? Like whether it's all true or not. See what C9 does. See what Mango says. See a lot of things first.
And again, it's always dangerous. We've always kind of. I think all four of us have always kind of been pro no central government anyway. In the fighting game community. So. I don't know, but maybe it'll be heading in that direction. So.
Yeah, I mean, especially as the concerns that you bring up grow, there's probably going to be sort of push to, better deal with these things. And I don't know if it's escapable. It might just be like an inevitable sort of funneling toward it.
2020 governing body of the FGC, Tasty Jam. Your vote matters. Every Thursday will be a thick Asian Thursday.
You can't run for president.
Hey, this is a new governing body we're making. When we get elected, I'll change the rules.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It does kind of roll back. We've actually touched on this kind of lightly throughout the episodes where it comes to the point of who answers to who, as well as, and I said this before when it comes to the fighting game community. Mostly core like Street Fighter, stuff like that. A lot of the things that happen are kind of they're done unanimously. Whether it be something as far as a round count or a match count or what's going to end the set, or somebody potentially or might being banned. I mean, look at the whole Noel situation. That's kind of how it's a snowball. It's a snowball effect, and I feel like we're definitely going to get to that point to where when everybody involved with what we do will not have the utmost, the purest lifestyle. So if anything happens to the point where someone's getting called on it, there's still going to be an instance of which we might be able to handle it because we come across it before, but chances are we might not have come across it before, and who are we to say? It's definitely a kind of touch-and-go situation, and I do agree. I agree with exactly what you said. It's one of those things something has to be done about. Once again, all these accusations are hearsay, and we don't know right now.
Yeah.
But it's just a fact of it.
Interesting topic.
I don't want somebody around who has been doing those things. I don't want even aside from the sponsorship issue, which is obviously a big concern. I want to try to dissuade people from doing that stuff. Maybe that's impossible. So if I can't do that, I just don't really want to be around.
Right? No, I agree.
Yep. Steve and I had a pretty similar conversation about somebody today. So, yeah, I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah. Who is it? Can't really read from that far. GTO Akira maybe says that is Twitter the best place to talk about this stuff? Yeah, probably not.
Yeah,
but
definitely not.
that is where it takes place.
Yeah, I would just say that's just kind of
It's
where
no
it
different
happens
than
these
people
days.
putting it on
It's
Facebook.
2016.
Yeah.
I feel like, the
It's just
majority
where it
of,
is.
there's no central place where people meet. It's like kind of Twitter exists.
Yeah, and not only
Yeah,
that,
right.
but
Internet
but-
That's just how it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Internet hangouts.
Yeah.
and the fighting game community just is in particular. I've heard a lot of different groups being like, oh, Twitter's not that useful anymore, but for the fighting game community, I feel like that's where we live.
Yeah.
Like I feel like
Yeah.
I also think Twitter is just useful.
yeah. I do
Ditto.
too. Yeah.
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 As much as you want to
I get
downplay.
tagged every day.
Yeah, I get-
Overwatch FGC friends. What are we doing? That's super useful.
Yeah. I mean, dude, seriously, like all the FGC
I'm
people.
always out when I get tagged too. I'm like,
It's
I know,
easier.
I know.
It's easier to contact people on Twitter. Like I texted
Yeah.
somebody and like no response.
I know.
message them
Tweet
on
them,
Twitter.
and then all of a sudden you get the response from them. So
I've been there too.
yeah.
we all exist on Twitter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. So
It's a really easy way to get
the
contact with
question
me.
should is probably not as relevant as just the fact that it is. It's the same. It's the same kind of question as is it legit or should it be legit to ban somebody for doing things that are outside of the tournaments and whatever. You just have to consider the reality of it. Sometimes you can't trust the way that the legal system
Especially
is.
because the
you have to do
FGC
things different.
It's funny because like these are always the new stuff that gets out there. So there's just this reputation of fighting game community that we're just a bunch of mean jerks and thugs and everything like that, right? And then every time a company, like an outside company, not the FGC, works with us, they're always like, oh my god, the FGC is like really cool. Why is it that like you have this reputation? You guys are super cool.
Because we got this
Adds
crazy
up a
stigma
lot.
attached to a lot of the community about just really. There's been a lot of instances over the past 6-7 years where the fighting game community was pointed to negatively, not positively. So it's like if anything comes out
It
of
makes
the
for a
war,
better story.
there it
always
is.
makes for a better
That's how
story.
it works. You'll never hear about the good stuff.
Oh, of course.
You're always gonna hear about the bad
yeah,
stuff.
of
You know.
Yeah. Let's see. Right. Yeah. Again, we haven't and are trying not to commentate on whether these allegations are true.
Yeah.
That's why. I mean, that's sort of why
We have no idea.
We're
Yeah.
speaking on principle alone.
Yeah, it's like
Yes,
it's a general question that's been sort of brought up by these allegations.
Yeah, we're not saying should Mango
Bans.
be banned or not. It's like
Yeah.
when should a player be banned
Right.
if something happens, right? It's not about him in particular.
Dude, I remember in school when we were in school, and this might be a little different, but
All right, hit me with
it says if you got off the school bus and went and got into a fight, you could get suspended at school.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that was a real thing. So for me, I feel like to me it's one and the same in all honesty.
Yeah.
So
That-
once
that
I
kind of
heard it, I
stuff.
was like, oh, he's gonna get back to school. He's gonna have detention. Like that's it, dude. Everybody knows he's gonna get back to the teachers via Twitter, and you're gonna get suspended.
No, that kind of stuff happens all the time now. Like people are real jerks to each other online and they get in trouble at school.
Yeah,
like
that's
that
what
is
happens.
that. Yeah, I see stories about it on the news all the time.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
So
I also, when I was in high school, there was actually like Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff.
are you serious?
You know, you guys are all
That's
like
so weird.
back then. You guys carved into stone tablets and everything, and
I
all that
carved
kind
it
of stuff.
into a tree.
Yeah.
Left it for my friends.
It's probably still there.
A meeting tree, you know.
Yeah.
Dude, when I was
Make a
going
message.
But that was like a
Initial.
thing. I remember getting a test and being like, I know all the answers but this one. Hey, can I go to the bathroom? And I just go to the bathroom and I pull out my phone. And I'm
That
like,
is crazy how that
How
works.
do I
to me.
answer this question?
Like, as
I'm
a
like, oh,
person
duh.
that can't wrap my head around
Dude.
having
and
a
I go
cell
back to
phone in
class
school.
and I write out my answer.
I thought that it was the height of technology when in college we had programmable calculators,
Yeah,
TI 83s or whatever.
Right, and you could write in the formulas and
And
stuff.
we were allowed to. We were like allowed to take in notes, and I was like, dang, like I have like digital notes like in class.
Yeah,
I was like, this is the height of tech.
yeah.
You know how much paper
I did
is
good
being
old-
saved right now?
I did good
Like, I'm just saying,
old-fashioned
man.
cheating sometimes, but mostly just digital cheating. You know.
It's weird how like Because, I mean, as a teacher, can you really say, like, no, you can't go to the bathroom?
Well, I'll tell you,
what I
they're
mean?
gonna
tell me no,
yeah,
or
they can't.
I would have got a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 on the test if you told me no.
Confirmed cheater say jump over here.
When I took like the bar exam and stuff, this is not that long ago, so all this stuff was all out there. They just said like you can't have your phones. Put your phones on this bin.
Yeah, it's really smart.
Yeah, you had to leave your backpack out in the room or like wherever you didn't need to bring it in, and you could have like your computer, your laptop, which is what most people took it on. You could write if you wanted to, but even on top of that, you had to load a program on your computer so that when you started your computer, it like overtook BIOS and you just like
so you couldn't use the internet and everything.
You couldn't go online. You couldn't go on Windows. You couldn't go on whatever it was.
I'm getting all sorts of cheating technology in the chat.
Oh
here.
yeah.
Someone actually said like they didn't use their phones, but they would write stuff in the dictionary, and the dictionary would get passed around between the students.
Yeah. Dude,
Wow.
So when
That is dirtbag.
by the time I hit college, they started collecting phones before tests and stuff like. They started doing that kind of stuff because people were cheating. But yeah, I mean, anyway, moral of the story is if you do dumb stuff outside of high school, you can get in trouble, and banning is hard to figure out, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know, and yeah, we're speaking generally, and it's an interesting topic.
Yeah, I mean, generally, and this is like a particularly gross example, if true. I don't know, like, what the threshold is. Like, how gross does something have to be before the person gets banned from a tournament? Like, your outside life.
Yeah.
Take drugs? Probably not. Like, things like that. At what point? If you kill somebody? Yes, definitely.
Yeah, well.
Where in this do you start banning? I don't really know, but I feel like this would be one of those.
He stole a car, but he gave it back.
Physical violence, I think,
like,
is a pretty standard one.
Somebody laundered $10 million. Actually, they're not $10 million, not $10 million, but there are some examples of like pretty shady financial dealings.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're close. As soon as you said that, I was like, oh.
But I mean, like, for example, like the Dark Prince situation, he didn't actually hurt anyone, but he pulled a knife and he threatened, and that was bad enough.
Man,
That's bad enough.
That's done, so baby. You out of there.
Yep. So anyway, it's
I guess we'll figure it out, but these are things to be thinking about as we all move forward.
More on that when it becomes available.
Yeah.
More breaking news when it breaks.
Well, someone does ask, how old are you anyway, Steve?
22.
Steven? 22.
22 years old. I did good old-fashioned cheating too, not just the modern kind. I think I only ever actually cheated in school like twice. But just the phone one.
I don't believe that for a second.
The phone one was a good example. That was hilarious.
You did. That was one of the 2 times that you cheated.
Yeah. The other one was final that I had for class where my friend had the answer somehow. Because I think we had a sub like a week before and he dug through the thing and found the answers. Because he's a crazy person. And I walk into class and he hands me a calculator that's not mine. And I open the back and there's like all the answers right there, and I slid the thing up, and the test is going, and I did it all, and I purposely missed 2 questions so I wouldn't get 100%.
That's smart cheating right there. You can't get 100%.
Right.
The teacher's not stupid.
Yeah.
She's the teacher. She's gonna see that.
Right.
Classic. Classic.
Yeah, that was like the only other thing I ever cheated on. So
Funny. The only time I quote kind of cheated was it was a stats class in college, and my friend knew that we were going to sign up for that class, and he saw that it was already being held, so he downloaded all of the homework answers.
Yep, genius.
That were on the web page already, and then when the class started. The interesting thing about it that actually helped me learn, because I would do the problem at home, and if I found out I was wrong, I would go and figure out why. And so I actually did really well on the test. It actually helped me.
School the right way.
Honestly, that was the class that made me believe that you should just have the answers all the time.
Dude.
Like, I feel like you could learn better if you just had the answers all the time.
Yeah, the one I cheated on, my friend handed me the thing, it was my AP calculus class or something absurd like that, where I really just did not have the heart to finish the semester. I was like, I'm not studying for this final.
You got senioritis?
Yeah, definitely. I was out of there.
The worst.
Because I'm like, this is such a... Oh, God.
I think the only time that I can think of that I got closest to cheating was so in law school they had us load on these programs so that.
You sure you want to do this?
Yeah, this is law. This is your job.
No, dude, it's not. It's
no,
not that
dude,
bad.
I cheated all the time. This shit was crazy.
It's not that bad. So I loaded my computer. I turned it on, and it was having problems. Like, so the test is going on. Everybody else is taking the test. My laptop's not turning on. And it took like a long time. It took like an hour. This is a timed test.
Yeah.
So like an hour goes into it, and like my laptop is just not starting. The teacher knows this. Like we're trying to figure it out. The tech guy comes down, whatever.
Damn.
And yeah, it was like an actual problem.
That sucks.
And so they were like, "Do you want to just write the test, or do you want to postpone it until tomorrow? And I was like, postpone it until tomorrow, please.
Don't know what kind of
An extra day to study?
What kind of
That's
question
not cheating
is
at
that?
all.
That was the closest I got.
That's not cheating. They gave you that option.
Hey.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I
One day you'll
could've-
actually
could've-
cheat.
Dude, at the bar exam, that also happened. It was the worst. My computer did not start. I don't know what happened, but I had to. And
Cheater David
they're
over
not
there.
gonna.
Closest
This seems like a
They're not gonna-
pattern.
I was about to say, he
It
says
seems
that
like
that's the
patterns.
closest.
I don't think
Two
that
times.
that's
Two times.
I don't think
You got a
that's
pretty
an
accurate
though.
memory of
At
it.
least I
did
own
not-
up to my cheating.
The
This
bar,
guy.
the bar did not let me get away with it. All right? They were just like, "Yeah, you got it right now."
Damn, foiled again.
I was like,
and I would have got away
Writing,
with it
I
too.
haven't written in 10 years. I'm like, this took so long.
It's a pencil? What is this?
Anyway.
That's weird.
I didn't really cheat much. All right, is there anything else to talk about on this?
I didn't either, but AP Cal sucks. I think we're done.
I think, we've definitely moved on to other
Stupid
topics.
Okay, well, let's move on to other topics more officially by talking about this Daily Dot issue.
Yeah, this is very depressing. But
So,
you have
in case you missed it, Daily Dot today announced that the Daily Dot is a website. You know, it's got a bunch of stuff going on for it. Dot Esports is one section of it. That's like the esports section. And they're downsizing a bit, and one of the repercussions of that is that the Best of 3 show put on by all the lovely guys over there, Efren, Donkey, Ace King Offsuit, and Velociraptor are now done. So there's no more Best of 3 show. Which is super sad because I think that they were doing something that was really spectacular.
Oh, yeah.
I think the FGC is really missing a lot of polished, awesome content.
Yeah.
And I think they were doing probably one of the best, if not the best jobs in terms of streaming of putting together a show.
Yeah.
And like on the other side of the thing, at least still on YouTube, we have Core Gaming who's doing awesome stuff. But like they were putting together a seriously awesome show and like gathering guests and doing these awesome segments. Like Block and Grab was a really funny segment. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Especially the Avatar fighting game section, and Donkey said no. What a useless. Anyway, I'm glad the show's canceled. But
Maybe that's what happened.
no.
Maybe that's what happened.
yeah, like why would you not make an Avatar fighting game? That would be so good. Anyway,
Avatar the movie?
The
right, never
last
mind.
Airbender.
oh yeah, like the Last Airbender.
That was
the cartoon.
That was a movie.
Don't say
That
that.
was
It was not a It was not a movie.
M. Night
Anyway,
Shyamalan did a bang up job on that one.
the point of the whole thing is that they're closing down. It's really, really tough times because the FGC, now more than ever, I think, needs this kind of polished, awesome content, and they really, I think, were ahead of its time, kind of, in how great of a job they're doing. So I'm really bummed about it.
Yeah, I mean, I was
mean-
saying the same thing like that you were saying. I only say that because like the FGC definitely does not have that kind of content geared on a regular basis. And
Yeah.
in all honesty, it was a new take on something that I felt like needed to be done. It was very direct. Like you said, they had guests, and it
Yeah,
sucks.
the interviews were good.
Yeah.
Are we the only Tuesday show left?
No, Scrapcon Pro Talk is still around.
Is it? I mean, it hasn't happened in like a month.
Yeah, I mean, but the other thing too is that they said that it's not necessarily done yet. The best of 3. They're trying
Yeah.
to find other avenues to go, perhaps. You
Dude,
know.
I hope somebody steps in there and makes that
Yeah.
show happen and puts their brand on it and makes it cool
Yeah.
because they definitely have a super awesome program put together.
They definitely have like some of the higher production value and such. So, and they're able to dedicate all their time, like a lot of time, to making sure that the show runs really well. So,
Yeah, it'll be tough to reproduce that without something that has money backing it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, because they have that studio and they have 2 people in house doing it, and it's like, I mean, they could try to do it from the 4 of them at home or something, but it doesn't have the same level.
it would look like
Yeah,
this.
it would look like this.
It would look like this, and you'd have air conditioner in the background.
And our
making
food
noise.
just sitting on the
Yeah,
desk,
exactly.
and it's
So-
yeah. I mean, we don't have corporate backing here, all right?
Right.
But now neither do they, which really sucks.
it does suck.
But you know, if you want to give us corporate backing, we could rock some awesome stuff for you guys. Trust me.
If anybody's good at selling product, it's probably this guy, and I can help you guys out. Did you see my Red Bull thing today? That was good, huh? That was real good.
It was.
That was pretty
Yeah.
sick.
I'm proud of
It's
it.
good to have somebody on the team who's down to chill. I did
professional.
I did an entire year of Capcom Pro Tour without doing an ad thanks to this man. Fact.
Yeah, he just handled it
I
all.
didn't
right.
mention a single ad for the entire year that we were on
What year?
Capcom
This
Pro
year?
Tour. No, it was like last year or
Oh.
the year before.
But what do you mean? Because I kept reading.
You would always say the
I
ads.
would read the
And
slides.
I would just
yeah.
take a bite or something
Dude,
or go take a whiz.
You know what sucks is
For
now
like a whole year.
the ads come up and I always have to read them.
Yeah.
Which I love to do because the sponsors that sponsor fighting game events are so sick. But
Doesn't mean that literally, more in the figurative sense. You guys are cool.
You guys are great.
I mean,
Fantastic.
the thing is, like, whenever the slides come
Selling
out,
out
like,
is tiring work.
I would always talk to all the companies that do it, and I'd find out about the products,
Yeah.
and I would try to say genuine things about them.
Well, because in real esports, they
right?
have like movie, like, you know, videos to show, and they have like talking points and everything like that. FGC, you just like sit down and you're talking, and then all of a sudden a slide comes up, and you're like, oh crap. And also these people are great, and like you have no. In addition.
I remember there was one event
like,
too.
yeah,
it
it just kind of happened.
At the very end, like there was the slide reel, and I just like started rattling off all this information, and even Hans looked at us like, "What the hell?"
Dude, in Top Beta Vivo, we did not know there was going to be ad slides. And then we're just sitting there, and Spencer's like, "I hope you're ready, because here it comes." I'm like, "Huh?" And then it's like, boom, and there it is, and I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Let's see and then when Steven's around, I don't need to worry about it. I can just I'll let you do it.
Now
I'll
you
let
have your own James channel.
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's great. It's great when you try, and you like try to do them, and they're like kind of like, you can tell that you tried, and it's funny for that, and then I get to do one, and it's like
he's really excited about doing those things, by the way, because I did one once. And he lost it. He was just like, Steve, really, Steve? I was like,
that's such a good one.
True story, yes or no? So Ringe told me, and he even said you admitted this, that you stole the tech from him.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that Ringe was the one who created all the Segway tech and was like the best at like doing a lot of that.
No, yeah, he was the first person who ever did it, but he didn't do it in the same level of, he didn't do it in the same level of like always doing the segue, but yeah, he was the one who first was like, man, reading these slides is whack. Yeah,
I can definitely second that, because he did it when we were doing cross counter stuff as well.
Yeah,
and he was
he's
like,
the original.
Steve, you want to do it? I was like, nah, and he took it. And he was like, I got that.
Dude, when he got on commentary again for the first time at Wednesday Night Fights, I said that. I was like, this is the original guy who did all the selling out. Yeah, he's the guy.
Well, Tuesday's gone through a lot of iterations, because when we started doing this, cross counter was going on, and
the show that sucks.
Were they already doing it? I don't remember.
Yeah, the show that sucks was there because we were trying to make the Tuesday talk.
That's right.
The Talkie Tuesdays.
We literally tried to make Talkie Tuesdays a thing.
Yeah.
And we tried to make it really explicit. We're like, cross counter would say like, "Hey, stick around for Ultra Gen," and then we would say,
"Never did
it."
Yeah.
Then we would go on and we would say, "Stick around for the show that sucks," which we did.
Which we always did. Yes.
So we tried to make it work, but cross counter didn't stick around on Tuesdays. The show that sucks also was now gone.
Yeah.
I mean, for different reasons, obviously, but.
And now we had CBT and Daily Dot and this show, and now it's like one is on kind of gone and one is gone, but maybe they could come back. And
Flo should just do it at his house. He should just always do it Tuesdays.
Right?
Have special guest Mike Ross on, whatever he's on.
That would be good. With Adam in the background.
Dude, that'd be the best.
Like SDR's still on Monday nights.
Yeah.
So they've been doing it for quite a while too, and they're, I was just listening to that, and their viewership has gone up like noticeably, especially now that they're on Team Spooky.
And also that KOF is out. That's like the thing they talk about.
So hopefully they stick around. Like we're gonna stick around. What do you think about the idea of the fact that so we're not like sort of beholden to any other decision makers, like best of three.
They're part of Dot Sports.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Like we're just doing it. Those seem like the shows that last longer than FGC so far. SDR and us are basically the ones that stuck around.
It's all really just comes down to whether or not we're willing to keep doing it, right? And like every year that we keep going, like we're always like, I can't believe we've been doing this for so long already, Like it's actually pretty amazing.
Can't believe how long we've been doing this.
I know, dude.
Right. Huffing and puffing all these years here at the Ultra Channel.
Chugging along, baby.
Yeah.
But it's one of the, there is something to be said about having, just do it yourself kind of thing, right? I mean, the nice thing about it is throughout the years we've also managed to get more equipment and more, different things. We've gone through all sorts of crazy setups and stuff like that. And
Eris also does ATP. You guys are right. I see you talking about that. Yeah, we know that ATP exists. We were talking about specifically shows that are on Tuesday, basically.
Yeah.
Before, but yeah, I watch ATP every week. So.
Yeah. But just in general, just having it be, being able to do it through your own means is gonna make it last longer.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Not having to adhere to any kind of public endorsing or corporate endorsing actually gives it where you have a lot more room.
And that also means that we have crappier tech.
Right. But I mean, the interesting thing about it is, like, let's say,
this bad boy.
let's say,
I know, it's the official Tasty Steve phone hider.
that's right.
Bam.
Let's say,
Cannon Award. It's holding up Dan.
Let's say some.
Don't be confused. I was talking about the Dan, not the Cannon Award.
Oh, I see.
Just the Dan.
Yeah. But like, so let's say some group does decide to sponsor us, and we start doing Tuesday show, and we have this crazy studio. All of a sudden, we're like corporate sponsored, and then all of a sudden they don't, like, they get canceled or something like that. We can't do it anymore. We would just come back here,
That's
right?
true.
I mean, we have that kind of advantage,
Blow
right?
off
A lot
the
of
disc.
other guys. So
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the hardest part right now is we just don't have technology. We don't have the manpower. We don't have a stream producer. It's me literally sitting here trying to do everything while everything is happening, and so.
Yep.
It's rough, but you know it makes it so that we can keep chugging along.
You're
so
right.
Hope everybody out there is happy that we're still here.
Well, I hope that Best 3 folks find something to do, even if you don't get like corporately backed. Hope you guys just do it, because it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, what we could try to do, maybe we could just try to start doing more interviews, trying to bring more people in through Skype and such. Hardest part, honestly, is that we're on a bad coast, so a lot of the East Coast people that we would want to bring on the show.
Or maybe they're on a
they
bad
have to be
coast, and if they're on the West Coast, it would be better.
Yeah, it's true.
Makes sense to me.
That makes sense. Makes sense
all
to
right.
me.
But you know, hopefully it's something they can get something going again somewhere else. So.
Anything else here?
That's probably it.
Okay. In that case, let's take a break. When we come back, we have a bunch of events to talk about. Japan Cup, TCW, Fighting Fest, whole bunch of stuff.
It's like 8 events.
Cool.
So I got to try VR.
VR what?
I used the Vive.
I mean, like, what game?
Okay, so I played a couple. They let me play 3 games, and they make sure that the first game is just a game where you look around and there's no action, because they want me to get used to it.
Right. Yeah.
So I got to try it for the first time. The first game was like you're on a mountain and you get to look around, and it was cool because like you would be like on a rock, and I'd want to step down off the rock, and that felt so weird because all I'm doing in real life is stepping forward.
Right.
But in there, I'm like stepping down. So like you want to kind of step down,
I don't like it.
like you're. So yeah, it was weird. So I played that, and then
I don't like it.
the second game I played was a defense game where you have a bow and arrow and you shoot guys who are running at this. You're defending a point. So I got hella good, hella quick at that, and I was fucking. This is the coolest game I've
Is
ever
it
played.
multiplayer?
No, it's like a single player game where you defend as guys run up and try to attack this gate, and you have to kill them before they get there. And like they get like more heavily armored, but to beat that, there's like a fire. So you hold your arrow in the fire, and it gets lit on fire, and then you shoot it. Or you can just hit them a bunch and knock their armor off.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's like a tower defense game. So like one paddle you're holding on, and that's like your bow. So you're holding it like this, and the other one you're pulling back like that to shoot arrows. And like I realized real quick, I was like, all right, the way to do this is to fire quickly as many as possible. 'Cause aiming down the sights is super hard to aim and then shoot, and it's like so slow. So I was just like, boom, boom, boom. And there was one point where they're running below me to get there, and I actually stood on one foot and leaned forward like that and shot below me.
No,
and I
that's
was like,
sick.
that was crazy. That was like the coolest thing ever. And the last game was like a space shooting game where like when bullets get close to you, it's slow motion and you can dodge it.
Oh,
So
sick!
would,
I
like,
want to play that
slow-mo
game.
Dodge, and it was like the Matrix, and I was shooting both guns at once, and I was like, it was super sick. I thought VR was like okay looking. I was like, this looks cool for some people, until I tried it, and I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever done.
Dude, I did VR
so
Doom
cool.
at a
Okay.
at
I saw
GameStop
that.
Expo. Man, that was so sick. Was not expecting to be that wild at all. But yeah, first off, I like recorded some girl playing, and she like bumped into the wall and like walked into
Yeah.
a table. It was hilarious. But like it's basically kind of like point and click, and then you shoot to like interact and stuff. So it's like it's definitely like one of those things where it didn't. Looking at it, you're like, there's no way that you just feel like you're somewhere else. But it definitely feels like you're somewhere else. And like it was fighting this big towering monster. Like I was like running between his legs, like shooting and stuff. It was actually pretty sick.
That sounds awesome for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I never got weird. Some people have
I'm not worried about that.
motion sickness and stuff.
It's the same thing that I had with when like the Wii came out.
Yeah,
I had to,
Even
like,
the
hold
Xbox
the
Live,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
I just didn't like. I started playing that Zelda on the Wii, and I was like, I can't do this motion for the bow every single time I want to shoot.
Yeah. I can see how
I will not do that.
I can see how it is. Yeah.
So I didn't do it. Like, I'm not going to do that for VR. When I'm playing video games, I'm not playing sports.
No, I got you. There's definitely a lot of stuff that was super, super, like, I could see you not being into it after a while. Because when I play video games, like, because, I never get to play video games. And when I do, I'm, like, just got home from traveling, so I'm super fucking tired. So I want to play something that's, like, I can just relax and chill, and I don't have to think, really.
Yep.
So playing VR would suck.
Like,
in
I
those
want to think,
scenarios.
I don't want to, like, exert myself. I want to,
Yeah.
like, sit there on my little chair, my kitty is on my lap.
Play the video
You know
game.
what I mean? Like, yeah.
Dude, I like lying down and playing. I play video games
Ideally.
sideways
I do
sometimes,
too.
on
Awesome.
the couch.
I'm 100%
You know?
with you both.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I like this. I don't know.
But
what it is.
also-
I can't be on my stomach like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But here, in
But
addition,
also
in addition,
VR is sick.
Imagine we right now are playing VR. All right, guys, let's play 4-player VR. We stand up and we go, and then,
Yeah.
because we have 2 square feet of space.
So you're speaking
craziest
of the
thing that
social
I-
aspect of it.
I mean, like, do you have the space to play
Dude,
VR?
the craziest thing that I saw.
don't. My apartment
Nobody
doesn't have
can. It's
that.
virtual reality
No,
because there's
so
going
what
to
I
be those
saw-
people without depth perception is going to be like, well, I know that I'm not moving in real life, but I have to move in real life.
So what I saw that was super cool, in regards to this real quick, was there was like a building that they're like making these virtual VR arcades where you go and you play, and like they have like a giant maze, and you're hooked up to the VR and you run along
That
and you like
sounds
fight
cool.
guys in the maze and stuff, and you can do that with co-op and
That
stuff.
sounds super sick.
But I've seen some.
I don't know when it would be actually.
I saw an example that
like,
people were playing a first-person shooter game, and they're literally standing like on a treadmill that goes in every direction.
Right,
yeah, I saw that.
So that when they run, they can run in whatever direction they want.
All right, so the alternative to having a giant salon where you can play VR is to have $10,000 to buy this.
Right.
Sick.
Or you just move and you don't move. Like you hit up on the controller.
That's what I'm saying.
Your character
If I can
moves.
sit on the couch, okay.
But see,
Yeah,
the
I'm
problem
sure
with a
I'll
lot of those VR games, you have to look around in 360. You have
Yeah,
to
that's
stand.
the thing.
You have to stand
not
up.
into it.
So even if you're using the digital pad, the D-pad to move yourself
I legit
around.
did not know what he was
Yeah,
talking about. I was like, yo,
even
what
if-
VR machine did you
Yeah,
use?
if you're using the D-pad to move around, right? And you still have to look around in 360. It's as opposed to
I think you're right.
as opposed to the analog, right?
Right,
Digital
right,
versus
right,
analog.
right.
Digital's on or off, and it's only one.
I think you're right about this VR 360 thing.
Yeah.
No, you're definitely right.
Sounds
Because it
about
kind of defeats the purpose if it's not.
I think VR is real interesting. And
Yeah,
I'm,
it's fascinating.
I'm really interested to see what they come up with.
No, I'm
Because
totally,
this is
totally
the
down for
beginners.
those arcades.
Yeah,
those
yeah,
sound super sick. To travel somewhere,
Yeah.
to do it, fantastic.
Doesn't that sound awesome? Like,
Yes.
because they were saying like,
It'd be like doing those escape room things.
Yeah,
Right.
it's exactly like
Super
that.
cool,
so like, yeah,
I
the
wanna
four
play
of
laser
us,
tag,
the
but,
four
like,
of us
more
could
for
go.
real.
Right? Yeah, that's like the same thing. That sounds super cool.
It does.
I'm super down for that.
There's a lot of games I feel like. So, like, I'm one of those guys that went out of their way to buy, like, the PlayStation Move thing, and I played Heavy Rain on it, and I loved it. What's wrong with it? I bought it, and I thought it was sick. So, it's like, I went, and I was like, man, this new Resident Evil game, I'm really hyped to play that game, as well as, like, if
Yeah, that looks
it
interesting.
if it ever came out, the new Silent Hill game.
Just the new Resident Evil.
Resident
game,
Evil 7
right?
VR.
Resident Evil 7.
Yeah.
That sounds
Dude,
good.
that game is going to be ridiculous.
All right.
Steve's gonna
let's-
kill
Alright.
everybody in his house.
All right.
All right, before we go, I just want to say, shout outs to Wasik, who just donated $5. I have to fix
Oh,
that.
damn! What up,
layout.
Wasik?
Yeah, I've gotta change the way that looks there because I have the picture on the bottom. On the side instead of the top. I'll fix that later on. But then also Mr. Shoegazer Jimmy, who just met Steve
I was
at
just
the
about to
GameStop.
say, yeah, dude.
And of course, who has done a lot of cool stuff for us. Also, the guy who always
Indeed.
tweets out those super sick joystick customs, like the Soundwave and like all those other things. That guy's awesome.
I think I have a picture
I saw
of
him
it.
at Wednesday Night Fights this
Yeah, I
last
have a
week as
picture of
well. And he has resubscribed for 3 months. So
High
shout out
five.
to Mr. Shoegazer.
It was awesome meeting you, dude.
Yo, DJ Frijoles has followed us. The ancient ST player in Mexico.
Yes, yeah, he did. He did.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
But we also got followed by Ray's Rob, by Sticky, by Lol Penguin Lol, and and by Gabe Play. So shout outs to all you guys. So all right, we're coming right back.